What kills people is not the surf, it's panic.
And we couldn't swim in and we got tired.
That's what we do here, is we help people live.
The warning signs go unnoticed. Small ripples in the surface, grains of sand churning in the surf. As the waves roll in, an unseen current pushes out. And suddenly, 5 swimmers find themselves dragged helplessly out to sea. As they struggle desperately against forces they do not understand, an alert lifeguard is already slicing through the water. Rescue boats race up the coast. Lifeguard vehicles are en route. The entire drama is over in less than 2 minutes. And 5 swimmers will never know how close they've come to death. This is not a scene from a TV action series, but one of 50,000 real-life rescues made each year by the world's ocean lifeguards.
It's not Baywatch. It's not going to be all happy at the end unless they do their job. And that if they make a mistake, that somebody can go home dead.
You know, you're not always going to revive that person or find that lost child. It's real life out here.
You're going to see some people get extremely hurt and possibly die.
When a limp body is dragged from the surf, all eyes are fixed on those individuals with the burden and responsibility of bringing it back to life.
Get rid of the stereotypes that you're just going to be kicking back, sitting in the sun, enjoying it.
Let the lifeguards do their job, please. Thank you.
They're watching the water, and they're watching it very carefully, and that is hard work.
Large crowds, diverse topography, and big surf. This is the recipe for surf disasters and rescues. While all beaches have their risks, few combine these elements quite like Southern California's Newport Beach.
Newport's very dynamic. It's got basically every combination of problems you can think of.
Lifeguard Brad Jacobsen knows how unforgiving conditions here can be, especially for people just looking to have a good time.
These people get drilled. They get drilled constantly. You have dislocated shoulders, broken arms, neck injuries, and just basically people getting pummeled.
Brad is only one of 3 Jacobsen lifeguards on patrol. His supervisor is his older brother, Brent.
Between my siblings and myself, we have about 75 years of lifeguarding experience.
Their sister Robin is a junior lifeguard instructor.
We basically grew up on this beach, one of the most dangerous beaches in the world.
Newport has 3 different danger spots, each with distinct personalities. The Point is known for its deadly currents. Big Corona can punish swimmers with jagged rocks and a pounding shore break. And the Wedge is where massive waves break in less than a foot of water. The Wedge has already claimed its first victim of the day. Brent Jacobsen responds to a call for emergency medical aid. A woman merely standing in ankle-deep water was violently knocked off her feet. What's happened isn't pretty. Lifeguards are already on the scene.
Her foot slipped into an inshore hole. her ankle, and it kind of rolled towards the to the inside. It actually pushed the bone through.
Another one in support. Almost snapped her foot clean off.
Looks like there was probably some severe ligament and tendon damage because she managed to get the whole end of the bone out.
Accidents like these can happen anywhere along the 6-mile stretch of Newport beachfront. The job of keeping up with them isn't for the faint of heart. Only the lifeguard elite can make it on these busy beaches. The riggers of Newport demand a lifeguard who is as seasoned and prepared as any professional athlete.
You literally have as much chance of becoming an NBA star as you do becoming a permanent lifeguard for this city.
There are only 16 permanent year-round positions, but each summer it takes 190 seasonal guards to cover the shoreline. They prepare by conditioning their bodies and updating themselves in the latest life-saving technology. Newport lifeguards receive 65 hours of paramedic training a year. But their main asset is a lifetime spent in the water, experience which enables them to handle the turbulent will of the ocean. Each gallon of water weighs 10 pounds. A 10-foot wave can crash down with thousands of pounds of force, snapping bones and holding even the strongest swimmer underwater. The enormous summer waves begin as storms in the southern hemisphere. The swells travel thousands of miles to crash on the south-facing beaches. And of course, this also coincides with the other summer swell.
We get our biggest surf during the periods of highest crowds.
Mike Halfide has watched over the masses at Newport for over 16 years.
We get a crowd of 120 to 130,000 people come down here in one day for 60 lifeguards to take care of them.
Key to taking care of the public is to prevent accidents in the first place through education. And the greatest danger swimmers face is the rip current.
There's a rip current down there when the waves come in. All the water that comes in from the waves has to go out somewhere. It picks the deepest spot in the shore, and it all goes down there, and it just sucks out like a river. So what people do is they just get sucked out and they try and fight it.
Rips form regularly at the point and in Big Corona. Incoming surf flows along the beach in what is called longshore current. The buildup of water flows back out to sea with powerful force. Rips are usually marked by a choppy, foamy surface and dirty brown water from the turned-up sands. Without the aid of swim fins, not even the best athlete can swim against a rip current.
There's no point in fighting because all it's going to do is get them all tired out. So what you want to do is they want to swim parallel to shore.
I don't think they realize how dangerous it really is. Next thing you know, they're stepping in a hole, now they're up to their neck, or they're swept off their feet with a rip current, and they're gone in seconds.
These are folks that think they can swim across a pool and they're in pretty good shape, and yet when they get out in the ocean with just a little bit of force going against them, conditions change dramatically. It's just a straight case of someone will help him out or he would lose his life.
By the time swimmers realize they're in a rip current, the lifeguards are usually on their way. An ocean rescue involves the precise coordination of tower guards, lifeguard vehicles, and rescue boats.
It's sort of choreographed like a dance, if you will. You've got the tower guard running out to rescue somebody. Next thing you see is a patrol unit responding, siren lights to the area. You look out in the water, you see the boat coming, and they all converge to make a successful rescue. And you watch it over and over again, and it's a beautiful sight.
Our response time really goes down to seconds. Our guards have the ability to see all the precursors to a rescue, and they'll start moving right away before that person even knows they're in trouble.
Today is Newport's first red flag day of the year.
This is what we've been training for and waiting for through the spring.
Attention all the swimmers here from the lifeguard truck. Today we have red flag conditions, our most hazardous condition. If you're not an expert with two fins, you probably shouldn't be out in the water. It's very dangerous here today. Thank you.
Lifeguards back up their red flag warnings with public address announcements.
We make the preventative announcement, especially on a day like today. We make the PA to buy the guards a little bit of time. They make 100, 150 contacts telling people to move away.
Please plant your feet on the bottom, walk into the beach, move down.
It's a pretty extreme day, and the conditions are definitely for experts only. We're just starting to get the crowds that will create most of our business. Already in the last half hour, we've probably seen 4 or 5 rescues in the Upper Rock area.
A lot of parents just let their kids swim. I just don't think they understand the severity of the condition.
What kind of restrictions have you got? We got a couple little ones.
Our surf today, we have our red flag up, the green, yellow, and red, like the stoplight. Red for our most dangerous. For somebody his age, he shouldn't even be in the water.
Lonnie Peak and Brad Causey position their rescue truck near a hazardous rip between towers 15 and 16, the area known as the Point.
We got warm water, we got sun out, we got relatively good-sized surf, and we got a lot of inexperienced swimmers out there. You can't have too many more elements that, when melting together, just forms rescues.
Chris Conway, a 5-year veteran, mans Tower 17.
This rip out here is huge right now. 2 years we haven't had a swell like this. But it's cool, this is what we're all here for. This is the fun stuff.
I can't emphasize enough how dangerous it is where you guys are.
PJ O'Brien in Tower 15 makes repeated runs to the surf, warning swimmers of the danger.
We out in the middle of a rip, and I was like, hey, dude, you need to come in. And he's all, oh, screw you, man. I was like, all right, dude, you're on your own. Just try to help somebody, and they, you know, they really don't want my help. I don't know what I can do about it, you know? I mean, I've exhausted all my diplomatic, you know, tools, and still didn't work, so I don't know, just kind of guess I had to wait and see what happened next.
I would never let my kids out in that, you know? People like common sense would be out of a job.
Despite the warnings, the swimmers edge closer to the trouble zone. In seconds, they'll be blindsided by the current, swept out to sea, and panicking to keep their heads above water. At Newport Beach, the greatest danger swimmers face is the rip current.
Attention swimmers out here near the rocks. We do have a little bit of a current in this area. Please stand up, walk into shore.
Though the lifeguards have warned them repeatedly, these swimmers continue to venture dangerously close to a powerful rip. Then, it happens, and a group of young, inexperienced swimmers are fighting for their lives. Chris and PJ notify headquarters and race to the shoreline. Within seconds, the rescue boat arrives, and the deckhand joins the chaos. Moments later, more swimmers are sucked into the rip. Brad and Lonnie sprint into the surf. In less than a minute, the swimmers have been pulled over 100 yards offshore by the powerful current. The lifeguards battle the churning water to keep the exhausted swimmers afloat. In all, 6 people are pulled aboard the rescue boat.
So a lifeguard came and got me. I was scared, man. I couldn't reach anymore, and we started going further out, and we couldn't swim in, and we got tired.
That's your typical incoming tide rescue. Suddenly everyone's off their feet as the water begins to flow out in a rip current.
There was chaos when I got in the water, people asking for help.
We would have probably died, man. We probably would have drowned.
One of them might have drowned if he hadn't been there, so it kind of feels good to know that, you know, you kind of made a difference.
The most dangerous break in Newport Beach is a spot called the Wedge. Ocean swells from the south bounce off the rocks of the Wedge's jetty, doubling the wave size.
It is what I would call an expert-only beach. The conditions here are very dangerous.
We've got up to 15, 20-foot faces breaking into 1 to 2 feet of water. If you're not an experienced swimmer, the currents and the turbulence can pull you under and out to sea.
At the Wedge, just wading in the surf can be hazardous.
We even have people that are unaware walking down the beach, and the force of the water is so strong it'll pull their feet out from under them, and then they'll bounce on their butts down into the water.
When big swells hit, spectators flock to the Wedge to watch the world's best bodyboarders and body surfers challenge themselves. November 30th, 1995, some of the biggest waves to ever hit California's coast were pounding the Wedge. Captured with a home video camera, a huge crowd was on hand as bodyboarders dropped into waves over 20 feet high. Brad Jacobsen was patrolling the area that day.
It really is one of the probably 3 largest days I've ever seen. Some of the bystanders on the beach felt it would be a good idea to just go down and get wet.
They get knocked over a little bit and slide down and get back up. And finally, a big set came in and just swept all 3 of them off their feet and sucked them straight down. They were just swept right down into the impact zone. In the matter of 3 to 5 seconds, they went from being in ankle-deep water on the shore to just sliding underneath an 8 to 10-foot wave.
Holy hell. All of a sudden, they were in water deep enough to where they were really getting thumped, and they were in a really bad spot.
The scene was just pandemonium, and took about a minute before we ever really got an idea of what was going on. We had people down by the water screaming.
Lifeguards responded immediately, pulling the unconscious victims from the water. After administering CPR, all 3 victims were transported to a local hospital where they made a full recovery. For Brad Jacobsen, it was just another day on the job. He and his family have witnessed many close calls over the years. They are considered the first family of Newport lifeguarding.
My dad was chief lifeguard in Newport Beach as I was growing up. My friends and I would keep our surfboards in his office after school. We'd ride our bikes down there, get them out, and just hit the water.
My family has been lifeguarding here since about 1959.
You know, there's a lot of other professions where people follow along the lines of their parents, but it's not something that everyone can do.
I was a permanent lifeguard for Newport Beach for 33 years, raising to chief.
I think he's, been proud of the fact that I've, pursued his career and followed in his footsteps as a full-time lifeguard.
Brent graduated from USC, went on to law school, passed the bar. He's a full-fledged lawyer, and what is he? A lifeguard, because that's what he really believes in. It's one of the most rewarding jobs you could possibly imagine. You do one heroic act, and you want to be on every rescue, every emergency call.
I can still remember the first one I made as a cadet in 1982 off the 56th Street jetty. Definitely was excited to run home to my father and go, "Dad, I made a rescue today." And he was a lifeguard chief at the time, so it was a pretty big hit with the family. I'm sure my brother and sister remember theirs too. But every day is a good day to make a rescue.
It takes years of training and experience to become a Newport Beach lifeguard. With junior lifeguard programs that begin as young as the age of 9. This area is a breeding ground for the world's best lifeguards. Nice job, guys! Robin Jacobsen instructs hundreds of junior lifeguards each week.
Basically, I ocean-proof 14, 15-year-old children. I get to teach them what I know and what I've learned from living at the beach, my entire life.
When these boys and girls turn 16, they can become rookie lifeguard trainees to compete for the limited number of summer job openings. Training is intense and includes CPR, first aid, and ocean rescue skills. This procedure culminates with Hell Day, the most grueling day of testing.
Quiet down, we've got a long day ahead of us.
For trainee Kyle Bean, this day is the climax of a quest that began when he was 9 years old. He has spent his entire life swimming and playing water sports, preparing to become a lifeguard.
First day I picked up my uniform at junior guards, I ran home right away and put it on, and that minute I knew I wanted to be a lifeguard. All right, sit down right here.
Kyle is just a really great young adult. He's highly motivated, very athletic, very polite. I mean, he is the the type of person that we want out on the beach.
Hell Day is a series of physical tests that will separate the contenders from the also-rans.
Really want to direct them to do what I'm telling them to do. They're going to be scared at this point. They're not sure what's going on. You need to give them direction. You're just gonna walk them on. Okay, let's step. Okay, sit down on the deck. Rescue complete.
The tests give trainers a chance to find out how lifeguard candidates can handle pressure. One drill requires the candidates to negotiate an inlet of jagged stone and churning surf, known as ladder rock.
They might have to make a rescue in these conditions, so that's why we take them into the rocks right now and just have them swim around there and get familiar with it. Jen, that looked a little rough in there.
All right.
In another drill designed to test their courage in extreme conditions, trainees are dropped off the back of the rescue boat at 30 miles an hour. After 3 weeks of testing, the highest scoring trainee is Kyle Bean.
He's come through our junior lifeguard program, come through our cadet program. When you get a look at this young guy, he's just a stud. He's able to breeze through all of our testing stations.
But Kyle and the other high scorers don't get lifeguard positions just yet. First, they'll spend a day observing veteran lifeguards in action.
On occasion, a situation does develop where you may have to actively participate in a rescue or an emergency situation. Just rely on your training. You've all been trained well.
I'm sure the second I look out there and see my first rescue that I'm going to be a little bit nervous to start with, but I know that it's just going to click, and everything that I've learned in training is just going to become routine, and I hope that I'll be able to respond just like I was taught.
Kyle is assigned to Tower 19 with lifeguard Joey Snellgrove.
Joey Snellgrove, he's like my best friend. He's a cool guy, we have a lot of fun, but like I know the job's important to him, the job's important to me, and definitely these people come first before us having fun.
Within 1 minute of his arrival at the tower, a rip has several swimmers in deep trouble.
I was actually really calm. Everything I learned just came into play. It seemed pretty typical of any scenario they give us in training.
Down the beach, another trainee, Brindy Weber, spots a swimmer having a problem. At 102 pounds, Brindy must rescue a man twice her size.
The rip current just took him out, and when he got out there, he realized that he was too far out from the shore. He didn't know how to get back in. I asked him to get back on his board, but because he didn't speak English, he didn't understand what I was saying, so I had to demonstrate him, pat the board, and I clipped my buoy onto the leash and took him back in. But all he could say was like, gracias.
The day is a hectic one for the trainees. Before long, another swimmer is caught in a rip. After swimming the victim to safety, Kyle gives him some tips on how to avoid the rip currents.
It's fine, just see this brown water right here? You know what a rip looks like? That's it right there. Anywhere over here is probably fine. Good there. Stay to the side of the rip. All right, thanks.
Kyle's day is filled with rescues, warnings, and medical assistance.
How's that feeling?
In short, a typical day of lifeguarding at Newport Beach.
I've learned more today than I have all through training, I think, just through this little experience that I gained, so yeah, it's great.
Well, good job today, Kyle.
Yeah, sign off my team. Calling my stats.
He did really well, I was pretty impressed.
5 rescues, 1 medical aid.
He'll make a good guard.
20 prevents. All right, thanks.
The final test for rookie lifeguard candidates is a verbal one.
Relax, think about your answers, and just do the best you can.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thanks.
For these kids who grew up in swim trunks, the prospect of putting on a tie for a formal job interview is more daunting than any surf they've ever faced.
It's always been sort of a dream of mine to be a lifeguard. Ever since I was a junior guard, it's just been something I've wanted to do. Physically, I think that I could handle any situation that I'll be faced with on the beach. I think I've got what it takes to be a good lifeguard, and I hope you guys see that and hire me because of it. All right, thank you.
Good choice.
Thanks, see you. Next is the wait, just waiting till they need people, and the lieutenants call me up, and I don't know, I can't, now I'm nervous.
While Kyle awaits the phone call that may make him an official lifeguard, returning veterans prepare for the summer ahead and what's certain to be another season of daring rescues. There are over 17 million people in the greater Los Angeles vicinity, and when the temperature rises, it seems that all of them go to the beach. For the first summer of the new millennium, the warm weather has come much earlier than expected.
We just suddenly have to mobilize all of our lifeguards.
You go down the whole list and you just call as many people as you can.
All right, thanks. Story of the day. I'm busy. 3-day weekend, everybody's planning on going away. So I'll just keep trying.
It's 34.
Fortunately, there are now some new lifeguards eager to work the Memorial Day weekend. Kyle Bean was the first candidate to make the cut.
I love it. I'm so happy. I'm so stoked on this. Just real stuff finally. It's not blank red shorts of trainee anymore. It's just what makes you a lifeguard. I've got this full feeling of like completion, like I'm finally a lifeguard now.
While Kyle is looking forward to his first day on the job, veterans Brian O'Rourke and Skeeter Leeper are already monitoring the south side from the water. The rescue boat plays a crucial role in saving lives. In large surf, rip currents can pull several people out to sea at once, often too far to be rescued by the tower guard.
We have a southern hemisphere swell that's running about 6 to 8 feet. It's very hollow. It's extremely dangerous for people who aren't experienced with the ocean. See, like right there, that's really bad. All those people there, all those are like potential people who are going to get pulled out or something. So,
hey Brian, just guard out 18.
Skeeter, coming down. Hold on 1 second. Go, Skeeter. Thanks, man.
Hey, I didn't even know he was yelling. I thought he was yelling, go!
Hey, thanks for being involved. Oh, man. Gotta really, like, keep them in and get down there. Seems like our guards are today. You okay? Yeah, I'm alright. This is out of breath. What, you just got caught inside? Okay. So you're not injured or anything, right? That's perfect.
Got smashed by a few waves and I couldn't breathe, couldn't swim.
He was exhausted and frightened for sure, so if they get pulled out to a position like that gentleman did, it could definitely be, it's definitely a life-threatening situation.
By the time a swimmer is pulled hundreds of yards out to sea, he is exhausted. A few seconds can mean the difference between life and death. That's the time for a dangerous maneuver.
That's a high-speed bailout. We only use it last-ditch effort when it's totally critical and we need to get the deckhand on the victim now.
It's pretty much life or death, and we really need to get to the person really fast.
The action of the boat helps to propel the deckhand.
It's very similar to crack the whip. It's the same exact concept. As soon as we turn at the apex of the turn, the boat catches, he jumps out and flings him out the back, so it gives him a good distance away from the boat. after he lands and hits the water, the boat wake comes up and he can actually almost body surf the boat wake to the victim.
From a stationary position, the deckhand can also use the breaking surf to transport himself instantly to the struggling swimmer. An urgent call comes in, and Donnie Gray guns his boat to North Newport. On a day when even expert swimmers are having difficulty, 2 young girls have been drawn far out in a rip.
Rescue inside.
A tower guard is already on the scene. But the pounding surf is making navigating the boat difficult. As Josh Van Egmond dives for the rescue, Donnie must position the boat to prevent the girls from being drawn into the propeller.
Hurry up, Josh. Sit down. Go, Josh.
312.
Okay.
Shotgun back in unit. We're available for a call.
Hurry up. Just sit down right there. Sit.
The girls are safe, but too frightened from their ordeal to get back in the water again.
You have to understand the dynamic of a drowning. What kills people is not the surf, it's panic. And if somebody is not water oriented or feels they're in true danger, once they get into that fear factor, then they start to exhaust. If they exhaust because of panic, they will submerge, and if they submerge, they drown. We can never, ever allow that to happen. So everybody that's in the water has to be reached before panic ever sets in.
If we don't find them in the first few minutes, then we've got to end up, we're going to be recovering a body.
Right before you go out, you're always making your judgment on where to go, depending on the currents, so that when you run out, you would meet them with the current. Get your knees as high as you can to get over the water, and then once you get about waist high, you start dolphining, pretty much just diving into the water, grabbing the bottom, and then pushing off the bottom, and you pull the bottom and kick off with your feet so that you can get out there faster. The whole time, you're keeping an eye on your victim. Just start to get about chest high where dolphin's ineffective anymore. You put your fins on as fast as you can, and then you just start swimming head up, keeping an eye on the victim.
It's like a mini triathlon where you're just running as fast as you can to the entry point. You're just dolphining, getting yourself through the surf line, getting to that person. You're going to hook them up, and then your job is just about half done at that point, where you need to bring him back in through these treacherous conditions that this person wasn't able to.
Lifeguard training and vigilance allows an average of 60 rescued Newport swimmers to go home alive at the end of each summer day. But lifeguarding isn't always over when the sun goes down. It was a late Sunday afternoon just before summer. Lifeguard Mitch White had completed a long day and began closing shop when something made him change his mind.
Just sort of didn't want to leave, didn't feel right about leaving.
A few minutes later, a 911 call came in. A young boy and girl had been out swimming when the fog rolled in. Their frantic parents had not seen them for over 30 minutes. Rushing down to the point, Mitch thought he would be too late.
There was a fog bank coming in, it was getting dark. My impression at that point was, you know, crap, here's another drowning.
When Mitch paddled out, he encountered nothing but darkness, fog, and silence.
The visibility was very minimal. It was about 5-10 feet. It wasn't real good. Got out to where the rip sort of dissipates at the end. That was generally would be where they would have been. And there was no one inside, didn't see anybody. Sat up on the board, kind of, you know, pondered, okay, now what am I gonna do? And so I just yelled out, you know, hey, you know, where are you?
When Mitch called out into the fog, he wasn't expecting a response.
Heard a faint voice over to my right, just, you know, say, here, just a little here. So I told him, you know, hang in there, keep talking to me, keep yelling, and paddled probably about 50 yards to my right. I was able to see him as they came out of the fog. The boy was holding his sister up. He's assisting her up to breathe, and when he does that, he was going underwater. And then when he came up for breath, you know, he would obviously pull on her, so he'd get a breath, and that's basically what was happening for about 10 yards till I got to him. When I got there, she was the one underwater, So I pulled her up onto the board, got him over the board. As she got on the board, I wasn't sure if she was going to be breathing or not, and she started coughing and spitting up, throwing up, which was a good sign. It was good that there was an airway. And I positioned her on the board, got the boy behind her, and just started heading him back into shore. And next thing you know, we could see the shoreline, and there's quite a crowd on shore. It ended up being a good ending. Parents came and rushed me, and were blessing me, and it was a pretty good feeling.
In Newport Beach, California, beach season is in full swing when the 4th of July comes around. Lifeguards arrive early to beat the crowds.
Massive crowds, 4th of July, This is gonna be madness. Really crowded. Try and find a parking spot here. I'll give you money if you find a parking spot, man. It's not happening. It's a crazy day, Every day is another day at the beach.
Supervisor Brent Jacobsen is in command for the holiday.
I stepped right out of the shower and right into this call. So if it's judging from anything from the last couple days, it's going to be probably a pretty hectic weekend.
All the Jacobsens are at work on Independence Day, traditionally one of the most crowded days of the year. Brad is patrolling in West Newport, ready to assist the tower guards. Robin is training junior guards. And Brent oversees it all.
I have roughly 25 people here on a normal day, and we're up to about 30 because of the crowded weekend.
On this day, many of the saves are made on dry land.
So where'd you find her?
Over there by BJ's Pizza.
At BJ's Pizza? Was she by herself?
Yeah.
Do you notice, was she crying, or she was pretty calm?
No, she's just standing in the road.
Okay. This is just going to be another lost child, probably one of a couple dozen that we have. But this one's a nice one. She's not crying. Usually they're bawling their head out.
Thanks.
No problem. Just keep an eye on them. And one thing you can do is, if you're going to be around here, is take a pen and write the lifeguard tower number that they're around.
Rookie Kyle Bean will work the 4th as a relief guard.
I go back and forth between these 5 towers here. I give all the guards about a 20-minute break twice a day. I was pretty pumped up last night thinking about working today.
The holiday weekend is a time when many inexperienced swimmers come to the beach, providing plenty of business for the guards. On the boat, John Moore and Charlie Dahl will make a month's worth of rescues on this one day.
Charlie and I are up here in West Newport patrolling and also backing up the tower guards, trying to do whatever preventative actions we can and affecting any rescues if that's the situation need be.
They get a dire call. A swimmer is stuck in a rip current and needs help.
Chuck, get ready! It's all on the inside, Chuck!
Charlie makes a high-speed bailout as the victim is going down. He's on him in an instant. Charlie gets the exhausted man seated on the deck to prevent him from slipping.
Sit down all the way on your butt.
He was waving and calling for help. And since the tower guard had the inside in control, I decided to send Charlie with a high-speed bailout.
I jump out of the back of the boat to rescue the victim. If it's done right, I can actually be put within 10 feet of the victim, which John most excellently did for me. It was a great job.
Rescue completed. The victim will have to sit tight as John and Charlie respond to another call. This time, several people are in trouble. Some inexperienced swimmers have been caught in a rip off Corona Jetty. By the time the boat arrives, the tower guard and supervisor are already in the water. In a mass rescue attempt, it is crucial for the lifeguards to communicate to make sure all the victims are accounted for. If one slips under the waves unnoticed, he may be gone forever. By the time all the swimmers are secured, the rip has pulled them well out to sea. Rather than risk a swim through the impact zone, the victims will be brought aboard the rescue boat. For John and Charlie, it is a scene that will be repeated throughout the day. The 4th of July is just warming up. Brent Jacobsen is called to another site, south of the pier.
There's a mild exhaustion. We're not sticking around here because we got another rescue going right here at 18th Street.
The beach is so crowded, Brent must take his truck Code 3 on the streets of Newport.
Oh, she just was playing in and she tripped on the wave. Just hit her head real bad.
You hold on to this.
The lifeguards stabilize the neck injury until the victim is turned over to the paramedics.
The spinal cord's consistency is about a wet spaghetti. Doesn't take much to break it, so we really make sure to handle those with care, because if we diagnose it wrong, she could end up paralyzed.
As Brent tends to the emergency, the crowds continue to show up. One of the most populated areas of beach is near the Newport Pier. Here, rookie lifeguard Jennifer Broderick is being indoctrinated.
This is my first day as a scheduled employee.
With a senior guard assisting her, Jennifer works one of the most dangerous sections of beach on the busiest day of the year.
It's been kind of busy. A lot of people have gotten in kind of close to the pier.
Jennifer will be in and out of the water all day, telling swimmers to stay away from the pier. Another rookie, Eric Ethans, is dealing with a different hazard: the jagged rocks of the jetty. At Tower 41, large surf and a side current are threatening to pull swimmers directly into the rocks. Eric must risk his own safety to pull the swimmers clear. The current is too strong even for a professional, so Eric must tow swimmers completely around the jetty and then pull them in, a distance of nearly 200 yards.
I've had to go around them at least 10 times already today. People, I try to keep them on the other side of the cones. There's just so many of them, they just keep on coming over here.
As the holiday crowd continues to swell, lifeguards must contend with different conditions.
It's starting to get late in the day. It looks like the alcohol factor is starting to kick in quite a bit, and that's when we start seeing the crazy things.
The 4th of July celebration occasionally pulls lifeguard resources away from the water.
What was a girl fight? Jealous girl fight, I guess. Pull the top off, they start scratching, and then some guy starts instigating.
While the action heats up on the boardwalk, Jennifer Broderick continues to keep swimmers clear of the pier. Here, a new hazard has developed, called a silent rip current. The silent rip is a current of water that moves swiftly out to sea but is hard to recognize, because the water is not dirty brown like a normal rip current.
To the right of the tower, there's a silent rip, so I've been out there a lot telling people to move out of it to swim parallel to shore. We really stress like prevention as opposed to having to go out there and rescue someone.
It's only a matter of time before a swimmer gets pulled into the rip. Jennifer reaches the distraught swimmer and makes her first rescue as a Newport lifeguard.
He looked fine when I went out there at first, but when I got out there, he couldn't paddle in with me, so I had to pull on my buoy until we got in, but he still wasn't making progress, so I strapped him in and pulled him in.
In all, Jennifer will make 5 rescues on her first day on the job.
It's not gonna hurt, okay? Just gonna take away the owie. Does that hurt? It's a pretty good day. Say I enjoyed myself, but I've been pretty busy.
On the last day of summer in Southern California, a bright sunny day is greeted by a late season swell. Brent Jacobsen backs up Tower 15, manned by one of his rookies, Brindy Weber.
I'm worried about the one guy whose head's really low in the water.
That's the guy I already got.
He's gonna go.
Brent's instincts tell him it's time to head for the water. A rescue boat is already on the way. Brent swims hard for the distant man. Meanwhile, Brindy spots another problem and dashes into the surf for her own rescue. Brent is able to successfully pull his exhausted victim to the boat. As Brindy swims her victim through the current back to shore.
We were between tower 17 and 15, and I was closer. We were far enough out, it wasn't worth trying to swim back in.
It's a good end to Brindy's first season. Tomorrow she begins her freshman year in college.
We are wrapped up.
With summer over, the crowds dwindle and Newport's staff is reduced to a skeleton crew of 30 permanent guards.
It was a good summer. We've had a lot of rescue activity. The percentage of people who've been injured is so low that we're pretty successful.
We did have a few record days. I think one day we actually pushed over 400 rescues at one time.
By the end, the first summer of the new millennium has seen over 1 million people visit the beaches of Newport, and nearly 6,000 of them have been rescued. To meet the demands of tomorrow's emergency rescues, Newport will continue to churn out the finest lifeguards in the world.
Just watching these guys develop, guys and women develop, from rookie lifeguards all the way to now they're just in charge of a whole section of beach by themselves. It's pretty rewarding for us.
This summer, Eric Ethans compiled the best statistics of all the new guards.
Year's turned out really good for me. Got a Rookie of the Year this year. I was really stoked about that.
While Eric takes the top honor of his class, none are more satisfied than Kyle Bean.
Lifeguarding has turned out to be everything I expected to be. It's thinking back to my first day when I was so nervous and scared being out here, and now it's just like, it's just every day it's what I do, you know, and it's totally comfortable with it now, and it's totally what I expected.
For the veteran guards, the action of the summer always seems to rekindle their enthusiasm for the job and keep them young.
People still ask, oh, you know, are you still lifeguarding? You know, when are you going to get a real job? And I look at some of the days I work and it's unreal. It's somebody's loved one is out missing in the surf and you're the one who's going to be responsible to find them, and that's as real as you can get.
You do this job for so long, there's a lot of stuff that just starts to get to you, you know, bothersome things, and then you realize that this is what you got the job for. You know, 25 years ago when I tried out as the cadets and stuff, this was what I wanted to do.
Generations of Newport lifeguards have witnessed the passage of summer. On the way, the veterans have rediscovered what brought them to the sea in the first place. And rookies, who had jogged onto the beach as children, have gone home not just as young men and women, but as lifeguards.